Jake Sumner. Imagine a genie gives you one wish and you're allowed to have anything that you want in the entire world. Now imagine you see someone that has more than you who looks happier. Would you give up your life with the wish, everything you want, to try and be this person and have what they want? We live in a world where the grass is always greener on the other side, and no matter what we have, we always are tempted to abandon it for something that looks better to us. And like many of you, I've experienced what it's like to abandon something that I have for something shiny and new. And even though it turned out that this would bring me no joy and it wasn't even real. The constant pursuit of more can cause us to overlook what we already have, which often results in losing what we have and never even getting what we want. Today, I'm going to tell you about a time that this happened to me, and I'm going to explain a fable that connects this story. So I'm going to share Aesop's fable, The Dog in the Shadow, to show how greed can make you lose everything. And then I'm going to share a story about my life where I learned this lesson the hard way. So let's look at the dog who had it all and he lost everything. The fable, The Dog in the Shadow by Aesop, is a short story about how the illusion of more can make us lose what we already have. As retold by the website Aesop Fables, which I accessed on February 1st, 2026, Aesop tells of a dog who is walking down a stream with a piece of meat in his mouth. As he crosses the stream, he looks down and he sees his own reflection in the water. He thinks it's another dog with another piece of meat in his mouth and decides that he wants that piece of meat too. When he goes to snap at the dog to try and get this piece of meat, he drops the meat that he has and he loses everything that he has. In summary of this, Aesop teaches that our greed to want more often leaves us with less than what we had in the first place. And much like the dog in this stream, I once found myself reaching for something better in my life and losing what I had in the process. When I was in middle school, I let the desire to be cool affect how I treated one of my closest friends. I had a very close friend who I had grown up with my whole life, I shared a lot of memories with, and I did everything with him. And as we got into middle school, we ended up in very different classes and very different groups. And I saw the people that he hung out with as weird and the people that I hung out with as cool. So I sort of started distancing myself from him so other people wouldn't see me as, weird. And I thought that to fit in with my new group of friends, that I wouldn't be able to be seen with my old friend who I had shared everything with. So I started distancing myself from him, from my long term, my loyal friend that had been with me through everything, to fit in with the people that I had just met. I had essentially dropped the piece of meat from my mouth to try to get the other shiny piece of meat, new friends. And the outcome of this situation was kind of like the dog. He tried to get more, but he also lost everything. In the end, the cool group of my friends, they turned out to be just shadows, like what the dog had seen, and they weren't even real friends in the end. And my real friend, the piece of meat that like I already had, by the time I realized that it was just a shadow, the damage had already been done with him, and he realized what I'd done, and I basically lost everything. And our bond's never been the same since then. So my middle school experience showed a real world version of Aesop's warning against greed and not being happy with what you already have. So both Aesop's fable and my own experience showed how greed can blind us to what we really have and what's the best for us. And it can make us chase an upgrade that oftentimes isn't even existent. So before I let you go, before you let go of what you have to reach for something that might not even be existent, make sure you think about it really good. Thank you. Any questions?